Well, hey, y'all. Hey, Electra. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Desiree. Hi, Jaconda. Nice to see you here on a Saturday night. I thank you for coming on, knowing that you could be doing something else with someone else, and yet you decided that I am worth a little bit of your time on a Saturday night. I hope everyone is well. Um, that you had a good weekend so far. So, before we get into our topic of discussion, I want to begin with a little Black history. Just a little bit. Let me see here. Let me find my spot where I save these things. Okay. Well, on February 12th, the NAACP is founded. It is the nation's largest civil rights organization and was founded to ensure political, educational, social, and economic equality for all minority U.S. citizens through democratic processes. Today, there are more than 2,200 chapters, according to the organization's website, dedicated to furthering these causes. Some noteworthy achievements are helping to pass the Dyer anti-lynching bill, which established lynching as a federal crime, and the Voting Rights Act, which has been, as we know, gutted by John Roberts. Thank you very much. Which guaranteed that no one can be denied the right to vote, even though, currently it's a concern because it looks like that's exactly what's happening. I wanted to. Okay, there's something else here I'd like to share too. On February 11th, in 1898, Reverend Owen L.W. Smith became the minister of Liberia. Reverend Smith was born into slavery in Giddensville, Sampson County, North Carolina, to Olin Smith and Maria Hicks, and was a servant in the Confederate Army, but escaped to become a soldier in the U.S. Army and fought at the Battle of Bentonville. He later rose to prominence in Wilson as a pastor of the St. John AME Zion Church and and presiding elder of the New Bern District of the North Carolina Conference. Reverend Smith caught the eye of some prominent elected officials and was appointed by President William McKinley as minister and consul general to Liberia. So if you don't know, the AME Church, I do believe, is the oldest established Black church in this country. There's AME Zion and then AME, just plain old AME. And I think there's sometimes a discussion of which church is older, but as we see here in 1898, Reverend Owen L.W. Smith was not only the minister of the St. John AME Zion Church, but he's also the consul to Liberia. And we have several in the AME Church, which is my mother church. We have several members that are from Liberia. The current pastor of Turnet Chapel AME Church here in Marietta is from Liberia. The Honorable Reverend Tarue Bright. It's a great church. It really is. Our main pastor, Kenneth Marcus, passed of pancreatic cancer, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago, and he is dearly missed. Hi, Carnomancy Mesquite. How are you? It's good to see you all tonight. And then I found out some history about something that happened right here in what is called, just a minute here. There, I had to get comfortable. About a county called Forsyth County. Now, Forsyth County has always been racist. They've never wanted anyone Black to be in that county ever. However, there's a very popular lake out there called Lake Lanier. And I found out that before that lake was there, it was called Otisville. That it was a thriving Black community that resided in that area, and somebody was accused of rape. A Black man was accused of raping a white woman, and he was killed. And as a result, white people came and lynched and killed and actually just destroyed the town. And so beneath Lake Lanier, there's a whole town called Otisville beneath that lake. There's a church, there are homes, there's history at that lake. And I had visited that lake, but I could never get in the water for some reason. The water just looked totally unappealing to me. And now I know why. And so I will never be visiting or boating in Lake Lanier ever again. Let me say hello to some others that have come on. Hi, Doreen. Hi, Sue Bird. Hi, is it Raslyn Reeds? Yeah. I also wanted to tell you about the gentleman who created the remote control, if I can find it in my notes. You know, I got to get more organized. Oh, I'll come back to it. And before we get involved with this conversation, this is a woman's conversation, let's just take a look at some of the news topics that are trending. Monistat Marjorie, who's about as charming as a yeast infection and about as bright as a lump of warm curd cottage cheese, is back at it again, accusing Nancy Pelosi of running the Gestapo police, spying on everybody in the Congress and the jail there being like a gulag, you know. See, Monistat Marjorie is a perfect example of why it isn't cool for cousins to marry, okay? For entertainment purposes only. That girl, no one should give her a mic, okay? They should just, whenever she gets the mic, she says something stupid. And then we have the topic of the ex-POS orange demon defeated human being flushing documents down the toilets and clogging up the toilets with paper he's trying to flush down. I hate to think what else that motherfucker was flushing. I wonder if he put the paper in there and then took a dump and then tried to flush it down. What a nasty bastard. Oh, gosh. Every day, you know, we thought that he wasn't there, that we might. Well, for a moment in January, we celebrated. For a moment, we were able to breathe. And I honestly thought that maybe he would settle down, but no, he's in the news every fucking day. Having done something, he's still up to his tricks. So I guess we'll just have to stand strong and bear with it right now, because I do see the day when his ass will not be, he might be in the news, but it might not be for the reason he wants to be in the news, Excuse me for a moment. I forgot to get my card. Waiting for you, my baby, my sugar. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Happy early Valentine's Day. I hope that if you have a significant other, that you will be remembered on this day and treated like the queens that you are. Hey, old spirit art, you are new here. Oh, you've heard stories about Lake Lanier? I hadn't heard that. I was really hurt by it, just to think that, and it's still going on today. Lynching is still alive today. There have been a few shady deaths in Atlanta that involved hanging, and people knowing that the person that was strung up would not have killed themselves that way. So lynching is alive and well. We can see what happened to Ahmaud Arbery here in Georgia. And while we're on the subject of the Voting Rights Act, we can see that it was gutted, so that it's really just a shadow of what it once was. And it looks like if we don't get the Voting for the People Act and the Voting Rights Bill passed, if Garland doesn't get off his ass and do something before this election cycle, these states in the South and some in the North are going to continue to institute these heinous voter restriction laws. They're going to do it. They're going to cheat, which is why I'm encouraging all of you to be as proactive as you can to help people get to the polls. Ask them if they're registered to vote, because we have to turn out in numbers like never before. Just like we did in 2020. When did we go out? No, was it 2020? 2021. You know what I'm talking about. And we have to make sure that we vote on the local level as well as on the national level. The local stuff is just as important as the national elections, because who you vote for in your town, in your city, in your state, will be the ones that will be able to get laws going and will affect your lives, our lives. So I really am confident that the message is out, that we don't care what kind of elector they put in. We do not care. They are not going to take back the House, and they're not going to take back the Senate. I just think people are just sick and tired of the Republicans not doing anything except fucking with Joe Biden. And thank you, Manchin, and thank you, the trollop that is his. I just still say they have something going on, honey. There's something going on with that. And one of these days, the lid is going to just pop off. Something is going on with that. Yeah, cinema. Yeah, girl. I got news for you. You are not a trailblazer. You are not some brilliant human being. You seem to have forgotten you were elected by the people, and that your gig is to take care of the ones that voted you into office. But since you got inside and lost your rabbit ass mind, you'll be primaried. And it'll get to the point where we don't care. We're going to dump money into anybody who's primarying you. We're going to dump money into their campaign funds, okay? That's what we have to do. throughout the country if you can. $3, $4, $5. Now, understand that when you do that, you're going to get a whole bunch of begging text messages. I don't know who's doing the messaging, but Lord. Yes. Let's see if there's it. Oh, has anyone seen the album cover for Kanye's new album? It looks like the devil. Okay, I don't know who told him that was a good idea. I must go online, and perhaps the next time I come on, I'll find a picture of it and show it. It looks disturbed. It looks disturbed. Now, for a moment now, we don't know which one of his Gemini personality is shining out. But for a minute now, he's black again. He's black, and people are embracing him because, of course, he's Kanye. I wish his friends would come to his rescue. I wish his friends would. Why he went on social media to ask his fans what he should do about Kim. Lord have mercy. If you're trying to get her back, well, it's not working. Not working very well for you. Oh, yes, and we have to dispel the rumor that the government is going to be giving out free crack pipes, okay? And here's a word. It's not just black folks doing crack. Joe Manchin and Marco Rubio have introduced a bill to stop the government from giving out crack pipes. Now, I don't know where they got their shit from, but no. To anyone that I know, I don't know anybody doing it, at least if they are, I don't know about it. The government is not going to provide you with free crack or a crack pipe, okay? Maybe you should clean up your life. And then, of course, all the bullshittery going down in Florida. You can't say gay. Can't teach about, they're actually legislating this shit, okay? Can't talk about slavery because the little white children are going to be uncomfortable. We're going to see how that works out for you, okay? I just can't imagine how they come up with this bullshit. I guess they go to bed at night and wake up in the morning with just more bullshit, just more bullshit. DeSantis is killing his people and is too cowardly to admit that he's vaccinated. They're a bunch of fucking cowards, a bunch of cowards. No Republican has come out and said anything about Donald Trump eating paper, eating things, shredding things, flushing things down the toilet. They haven't said a word. But when Hillary and the whole Benghazi tragedy happened, they were you know how many millions of dollars were spent for them to come up with nothing? Well, okay. So I want to talk about internet dating and dating apps. Now, a few weeks ago, it was found that a young black woman in Hartford was found dead after she met a man on Tinder. She came up dead. And then I recently read a story about a lady who had met somebody on Tinder, and she sent him a picture while he was on a flight, and he said he peed on himself. Now, the story is, I guess he must have been sitting close to the window or something. The story is he had two women next to him, and I guess they were sleeping and resting, and he didn't want to disturb them, and he was trying to hold his pee. But when he saw her picture, he peed on himself. Have any of y'all used Tinder or any Our Time or eHarmony or Match or any of those dating apps? Have any of you done it? Malcolm says, hot take. I think Kanye's always been like, yeah, he's always been a little bent, but you know, it seems like he's gotten more and more so. Have any of you ever used a dating app, an internet dating app? You're safe here if you did. I actually have a couple of friends who met men on dating apps, and they've been happily married for a number of years. I have a few friends who use the dating apps, and they, you know, enjoy going out on dates and whatnot. I just am not interested, you know, because I think it was eHarmony. I went on and went through all the tests or whatever they have, answered all the questions the best way I knew to answer them. And when you get to the last question, they ask, I guess, do you want to confine your search for a man just in the United States, or do you want to expand, you know, and see if they can find him anywhere in the world? Well, I did that, and I started leaning forward because I said, yay, I'm going to find my match. And it came back to wasn't a motherfucker in the whole world for me, okay? That I'm not special. That there's no one in the world for me. Oh, I guess I would be sad if there's certainly someone for me, you know. But I thought I got a big laugh out of that. I thought, oh my God. I did watch The Tender Swindler. This was a young Israeli man, nice looking, always had a great presentation, dressed well, was flying around on private jets, and he claimed to be the son of a billionaire diamond guy. The guy's name is Lev Leviev. I've read about him in a video called The Dubious Friends of Donald Trump. If you ever get an opportunity to watch that show, but it's 2 parts. It's worth the watch. And Lev Leviev appeared in that. Now, this guy claimed to be the son of this billionaire, and he would pick certain ones. He likes certain women, and he would pick them, and he would woo them and romance them. He would just show up and take them places on his private jet, and he was living a high life. But we find out that he had built women out of millions and millions of dollars, and the way he did it was by having them. He never got credit card or anything in his name. He would ask them to apply for credit in their name, and have them max, you know, get these huge credit lines, these huge things. I mean, like thousands of dollars, which he would quickly burn through, because while he was romancing this one and telling this one how much he loved and missed him, he was actually somewhere else with someone else, romancing them with their money. It was like a romance Ponzi scheme. So there were 3 women who decided that since they had to pay this money back, and they are still having to pay it back, that they were going to get him. And so there were 3 of his victims who got together and got him to a point where he was broke. One lady suggested that he give her all of his designer clothes that she would sell them because he would always say that there were people after him, that because of who he was, there were folks that were coming after him, and he needed the money to kind of get away, and these women really fell for him because he was so wonderful to them when they did see him, and they were concerned. He had a friend who was his bodyguard, and he showed a picture of him with a knock in the head and blood running and whatnot. So they thought he was actually in danger, and so they would do whatever they could to help him get out of it. And so this lady, when he got found out, there was one woman who managed to get photographs. They got pictures of him. This lady that was she worked in high-end clothing stores, suggested he should give her all of his fancy designer clothing and she would sell them for him. And all the while he's calling because he wants the money. He needs the money. He needs the money to get away. But what they did succeed in doing is getting his face out there so that people know who he is and what he does. Check this out. He only was in prison or in jail for 15 months. And now he appears to be doing very well again. Even though these women managed to get his picture out all over the internet. So, because he had several different names also. Several different names, several different passports. I mean, he was quite the scoundrel. So none of you all have used a dating app. No, predators are not just in the wilderness. You can meet a predator in the supermarket. Now, I want to ask you, I wonder if there's a way I can drop this link in here or share. Oh, that's sharing the screen. I'm going to figure out how I can put the link in the chat and you all don't have to show your faces or anything, but you can come up and talk with me. I want to ask, what kind of woman falls for that? Now, we know that we have, there's an African romance scam where they get women go online. They have their photographs, which usually isn't them, okay? They have a photograph online. The ladies begin to talk with them and the guys romance them and begin to tell them how much they love them and they want to marry them. And just like the Tinder swindler, there's always a business deal or something that goes awry and they need money. And I was surprised to find out how much money women sent to these men. And it wasn't even the man whose picture was up there. It was some cat sitting in an internet cafe. It happened to someone I know. And I didn't say anything because she would not have listened. She even left her children here because she's got a daughter that's 18, I think. And her girls are pretty independent. She flew to meet him in Lagos. She couldn't get directly into Lagos, so she had to land in a neighboring state or something across the country lines or something. It was quite an adventure that she had to get to this man who was supposed to come back with her to America, but who had absolutely no desire to come to America with her. His friends told him if he had an American girlfriend, she should be able to drop 50 grand on him right away. The hell I would. I ain't dropping 50 cents, okay? So I have to wonder about the women who fall for these things. Is it lack of self-esteem? Is it loneliness? Is it a combination of the two? I would have to wonder how you could get so involved with someone you've never met. You've never seen them in the flesh. And as I said in my last video, somebody can throw up their prom picture or picture when they look in their 20s or 30s and they show up and they are toe up from the floor up, baby. They look as if life has not been kind. I have to wonder how women become victimized by these men. Let's see what Jaconda is saying. Women who have not been taught to discern the spirits and make wise decisions about people in general, but especially about men. That might be part of it. But how can you get a really good read on somebody if you've never met them, if you've never seen them, if all you've ever done is communicate with them via WhatsApp, or maybe you FaceTime from time to time if you can? I've just never, I just don't understand it. Desiree, what you see? Desiree said, my friend got caught up in that crap. Want to tell us a little bit about it? Old Spirit Art. Yes, I remember looking for Mr. Goodbar. I saw the movie and I was horrified. The guy ended up being a serial killer. Ted Bundy type. You remember First I Look at the Purse? I have a Motown playlist and they have First I Look at the Purse. I love that too. Some folks look at the eyes. Some folks look at the nose. Some folks look at the way she walks. Some folks look at her toes. I'm just making up lyrics. And the guy says, I don't care what she looked like. I don't care if her hair's long. I don't care about a damn thing. Because first I look at the purse. That song tickled me. That one in Function at the Junction cracked me up. Good tunes. Good tunes. A few years back, there were a group of women who were all victimized by a man, but in the most heinous way. These were women that were in their late 40s, maybe early 50s. They'd done well in their lives. They were all independent. They were at the top of their game. And the story begins with one woman meeting this particular man. He romanced her. They romanced for a long, several months before she decided that, or they decided, I guess it was like a mutual agreement, that they were going to be a couple. So the first thing she did, which was wise, was, let's go to the clinic and let us both get tested for HIV. Well, hers came back clean. I think they might have gone to 2 different testing facilities. And she let him go in alone. And when he came out, he said that he was clean, and he never showed her any proof of that, because she had fallen for him and she trusted him because she loved him. She trusted him. She did not have a clue that, in fact, he was HIV positive. And when she found out, she went for testing because she wasn't feeling well, and she found out that she was positive. and he was the only man that she had ever been with. She was exclusive to him. Well, long story short, she went online, did some research and detective work, and met a few other women that he had infected. And they actually got together and filed a lawsuit against him. I think it might have been a criminal lawsuit, saying that, having this man infected with HIV was akin, to putting a loaded gun to their heads and pulling the trigger. He had infected them with a disease that they would have to live with for the rest of their lives. He was actually convicted. My next question is, let's see what you say, Desiree. She thought she was getting married, got caught up and sent him money. AB's turned out to be a Nigerian man, but you are right, Jace. Used a white man. Exactly. They never put up their faces. They find the picture of someone that they know women will fall for. There is a man, actually, an American serviceman, whose picture has been used several hundred times. And he's had to work very hard to straighten that out. Women like a man in uniform. And I don't know if he was still serving, but what I do know is he's had to spend a whole lot of time. He's getting calls from these women who are angry with him because he was supposed to show up and they were waiting for him and he didn't know what they were talking about. It wasn't him. There was also a guy named Chris, I think it might have been Chris Hansen. I really don't know, but there was an investigator who actually tracked down a guy who was doing the romance scam thing. Caught him on camera and stuff. And he ran. He was in Nigeria somewhere. And he ran. There's a lot of shit coming out of Nigeria that ain't good, Even though I know some wonderful people from that country, there's a lot about there's so much dirt that comes out of there that it just kind of reflects on anyone who says that they're Nigerian. My next question is, do you think when you meet someone and you've had an opportunity to spend time with them, you've done things together, you're feeling comfortable with this person, and you think that this might be the person that you want to be with because let's say you've fallen in love. Do you think that it is reasonable for you to trust someone that you've fallen for and expect that whatever they tell you is the truth? Is that reasonable? I'm looking at... This is a little cigar. It's not a blunt. Sue Bird says trust, but verify. Desiree says this particular man, he had looked for homes, 1 million plus homes, thinking they're getting married. Yeah, and they take these women's money. They have no remorse. But do you think that if you fall in love with someone, that it's reasonable that you trust them and that it's reasonable for you to expect that they would never lie to you or that they aren't lying to you? Jaconda, you say no, it isn't? Rosalind Reed says, yep. I think who said trust and verify? Yeah, I think, especially in this day and age, that if you're going to be intimate with somebody and you all elect to have unprotected sex, that you both get tested, and you get tested at the same facility. I just have to wonder about how we as women get caught up in these toxic, fucked up relationships with people you don't even know. So we decided that has a little bit, it has something to do with loneliness, because many of these women who are tricked in romance, not in the Tinder swindler, these weren't old women. These were actually young, very pretty women that fell for him, and they fell hard. They really cared about him. So it was awful to find out that he was an asshole. That he would go out and in one night with the hotel and all of the trimmings and stuff, $20,000 a night of someone else's money, romancing another woman and telling her the same shit he was telling all of them. That you're the one, that I want to settle down with you and I want to have a family with you. It is a shame. However, many are middle-aged women. And so I wonder, what are you saying, Jaconda? Let's see here. Oh, I got to get this out the way. Honest, sensible, always show they can be trusted. If you have to ask a question, then think again. I agree with that. I think that if you say, let's go get tested, and they hesitate, that's a tell. I'm not going to, hey, Rhonda. My children, he was the biggest, girl, was he the biggest asshole of all time? You don't know until I have a friend who spoke to me about getting married and being excited about getting married. And her husband, her now ex-husband, said now he could be himself. And she didn't know what he meant by that. But he showed her what he meant by that. And he was a real jerk. Sometimes you don't know a person until you actually get deeply involved with them, and you might be living with them or planning to thinking you're going to marry them. They don't, because everybody puts their best foot forward. Nobody's going to come to you. They say in the Bible, a lot of people talk about the enemy. The enemy is the devil. The devil's not going to show up with horns and a tail and cloven hooves. He's going to show up looking like, smelling like, tasting like something you dig. I had a terrible relationship with someone. I mean, his father warned me. Our grandparents knew each other. That's how far back our families had known each other. And I just thought maybe he just needed to change the scenery. He just needed a break. So I spotted him for the airline ticket to come. I was living in Detroit at the time, across the street from Rosa Parks, from the building she lived in. And everything was just wonderful. However, it was short-lived. He was a functioning crack addict. He'd go to work. He worked hard. He'd go to work, but he did not. If he could have gotten away with not contributing to paying anything towards the household, he would have done that. and he would disappear on weekends and come back, and he had no money. He might have stopped somewhere at the Walmart or somewhere and bought it some clothes. I don't know. And I loved him. I really did. And there was something about, it was very difficult for me to let him go. But then one day I knew it was necessary, that I had to cut his ass loose, because it wasn't bringing me any happiness. It wasn't bringing me any joy. It was only adding it was just only bringing misery. Who wants to stay in a relationship like that? I can't imagine. What are you saying, Holy Spirit? Think of it as a lifeboat. You want to be able to trust this person on the boat. Yeah, you do. You want to think that this person is down with you, that they are looking out, they got your back, that they won't lie to you. This brother would look me in the eye and just lie. And I always found out, and I asked him, why do you do that? I always find out. Rhonda, what are you saying? Yeah. I think that you were probably right not to say, not to put down their dad, because kids don't need to be brought into adult shit, and they love their father, and whatever they're going to find out about him, they need to find out on their own. I think part of what happens is that, women feel pressured sometimes. Like when they get in their 40s, if they're not married, they get to thinking that something's wrong. They have to be married by then. And some of them even have pressure put on them to get married, so you can get married and still squeeze out a baby. Marriage was never anything that I was interested in. I never thought that I would want to be married. I was perfectly happy to live in sin. Okay. I never ever wanted to be married. It just wasn't on my to-do list. Do I want a partner? Do I want a mate? Yes, I do. I don't know that marrying that person is really important to me. Let me go up here and catch some of these comments. It was a different scene back then. I think they've had time over the years, so it's gotten more dangerous. Absolutely. When I think about the mischief that I have gotten into, and how I've just been blessed to be able to be here to talk about it, I don't know why anybody would go on a dating app. I really don't understand it, because there's so much that could go wrong, so much. And I think anybody who does it is courageous. Thank you. But I always insist, you let me know the name, you let me know where you're going, you send me a picture. I want to know what's going on with you if you're going out with somebody you met on a dating app. I don't have that kind of courage. I don't. For the first time, I was in the middle of no one. You were the last thing on my mind. You were the last thing. I was only wasting time. Love is what happens. Love is what happens when you're making other plans. When your heart isn't out there looking for romance. I'm trying to keep it low so the neighbors don't get. Love is what happens when you're making other plans. So I tend to think that the person that I am going to meet won't be on a dating app. I'll meet them while I'm looking at the carrots in the vegetable section, or eyeballing the meat, or something like that. Yeah. So you say your children can't stand him, huh? Well, kids are very perceptive. That's for sure. If if they, I think that if your children are with you, they probably got a good idea why you're not with their dad. I just know that children are very perceptive. They pick up on things. And I feel for women who fall so hard that they go into their retirement funds, or their 401ks, or they take out loans, or they go and mortgage their home. I mean, I feel for women that do that. I saw it was an Australian talk show where these women came on and they were talking about romance scams and how much money they given to these guys, only to find out it was all a lie. That's heartbreaking. So, and as for me, I am not trying to go on anybody's dating app because I've watched too much ID crime on the Discovery Channel. I've watched too many of them damn shows. When somebody goes on a date, they never come back. So I am not that girl at all. Who's that beautiful? Rosalind Reeds? Yeah. I've had a pretty busy week this week. Um, Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Tomorrow I'm meeting with my music director. We're going to hash out the budget and distill these songs down to. I would really like to have one where I have 5 or 6 on there. So I've chosen several and more songs than that. So we need to kind of get it down so that the CD will have a great mix. It'll show different styles and whatnot, you know. So this thing is real. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. Yes, and I'm checking out a venue that I've not had a gig there. I could have, except I wasn't really down with. A lot of times people want you to come down and they want you to, get the band and stuff. They want you to come down and do a live audition. Well, those things aren't free to me. I can't ask players to come out for nothing. That this is their livelihood. I honor my musicians. I respect them for their talent. I respect them for the time they put in to learn to master their instrument. There's no way I would ever ask anybody to come out and do me a favor on the chance that we might get a gig. I don't operate like that. It's just not fair. Not fair at all. So, any questions or any comments? I just wanted to know if anybody had been on a dating app. If you have, how was the date? I went on one. It was just when I did go on an app and decided to go out with someone, it ended up being just somebody who wanted to hook up. It had nothing to do with nothing. It was a hookup they were looking for. And I would never invite them to my home, ever, 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 ever. That's dangerous. Razzle Reese, why'd you get blocked from Tinder, girl? What? What did you do, girl, to get blocked? Tell us about it. What did you do that they blocked you? It's the fact. Child, they kicked my ass off Twitter because I said I believe Christine Blasey Ford, and I sent it to Brett Kavanaugh's ass directly and put it all over the thing. I guess I hurt his feelings. They say I'm forever. I'm in the same boat as Monistat, Marjorie, and as the demon, and anybody else who can't get back on that platform. I think I haven't tried to get on it for a while. It doesn't really matter to me, But you have what? You say that was years ago. It's a long story. Well, perhaps you'll come back on and tell us all about it. We like stories. We like stories. And I'd like to see what somebody, gets up to, How many married women or women that have partners? How many do we have? How many of you have a Valentine? Give me a thumbs up if you have a Valentine or somebody that you're going to be spending Valentine's Day with. You have a Valentine, Wrestling? All right. Desiree and I are going to be watching ID, the crime show. We'll be watching crime shows. Actually, I had forgotten that the day after tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I showed you what one of my friends gave me. It was the cutest thing. And that's about, I don't expect I'll get anything else, maybe a phone call, something like that. Oh, you have Desiree, you have a Valentine? Oh, your dog absolutely counts, Kathy W. And I thank you so much for donating. I really do. I hope you don't mind that I called you out. There were two other ladies who did, and I didn't get permission to use their names, so I've never said anything. But any donation is really, really appreciated. I don't expect it at all, so it was just a really pleasant surprise. Thank you so much. Of course your dog counts. If I had a dog, we'd be hanging out together. My baby passed, and Yeah, she passed in 2014 in June. And I sure do miss her. I really do. I'm going to get me some fur babies. Yeah. Thank you, Kathy. Um, yeah, I think dogs are the best Valentines. I saw this cute video today of a little puppy who's looking at a cell phone. He's trying to get it to work. He's seeing the pictures and stuff, and he's really focused and concentrating and using his paw to try to get it to work for him. It is so cute. I love dogs. I think they are. I love animals, but dogs, I think, are, and sometimes cats. I'm just very allergic to kitties and certain dogs. Like I had a Yorkie, um, and Yorkies and Maltese have hair, not like fur. So I could be around her, except when she would go out when it was heavy. Because in Georgia, you get so much pollen that everything it has this kind of eerie green glow to it. It is really bad. And these last few days, we've had gorgeous weather. The sun has been shining, it has been warm. So I imagine by next month, the trees will begin to blossom, and time for me to go get the big bottle of Zyrtec because I have my eye drops. I picked those up on Friday because pollen is really, really bad. It is bad here. However, it's worth it because it's actually very beautiful when everything is in bloom. I love the spring and the summer and the fall. And the reason I can bear winter here is because it doesn't last long, you know. It comes and it goes. And when it gets cold, it gets really cold. It gets down in the 20s, sometimes lower. Too cold to snow. And it's just that dry, cold air that it almost hurts to breathe, you know? So that was what I came on to talk about. I have been wondering about what kind of woman, what goes on in a woman's mind, that they fall for these pranksters, they fall for these tricksters. And you're right, you don't have to go on Tinder to be involved with one. They can actually be someone you met and liked and thought y'all were on a good tip, and they ended up being no good. You know, they ended up being just no good. So, what would you say? You would love 20 degrees in Ohio? Oh no, you would. You get colder, huh? You get into the negative. Woo, Jesus. Let me tell you something. I lived up in New England, in Connecticut. It was beautiful there, but I do not. And where I grew up in the we got in Nevada, we got 4 seasons. We got spring and summer and winter and fall. I don't miss snow, not one bit. When it gets a little bit of dusting of snow here, people get so excited because it doesn't happen often. And I think the last time it happened was probably in gosh, it's been so long ago I don't remember what year it was. About 2014, I think they actually had some snow, and the city wasn't prepared for it. People didn't think it was going to happen. Everybody came to work on that day, and then everyone began to leave the city at about 3 o'clock, and the snow started coming, and it actually snowed here. And folks were having nervous breakdowns on the highway because the traffic was so bad, nobody could get home. And then when the mayor bought plows, they're kind of like the just in case it snows plows. Because I think the people who were in charge of driving them. I think they were tipping over and shit. It was just really a debacle, but folks enjoyed it. They were making sleds out of anything and sliding down hills and just enjoying it. I stayed in with the fireplace going and made sure I had everything I needed so I wouldn't have to go out. I don't miss snow. So anywhere I'm going, it's going to be warmer. My joints don't like the cold weather either, so. You said we get summer, fall, winter, and construction. Yeah, I mean, because of where we are in Atlanta, I think we get a lot that comes in this, like a lot of the winds and the bad stuff. It doesn't seem to kind of hit. It only hits in certain places. I'm fortunate that it's never, I've never been in a situation. I've never been in that situation, thank God. But I do know that there are times that a flake can fall and the whole city will shut down. It's called a snow day, girl. They shut the city down. And by the noontime when the sun comes out, it's nothing but water. Oh, yes, but hey, like I said, winters don't last, and I'm ever so thankful that they do not. So I want to thank each. Oh, I got to get the oracle, don't I? You are the last thing on my mind. So what we need to be thinking about this week. Well, balance just popped out. Balance. It's very important in our lives that we have a work and rest and recreation, and we have balance in our lives. So we don't forget, first of all, that we need care. You can't run on empty. So please, I can't stress it enough. Take some time out to be with yourself and take care of yourself. Women, we are every woman. Some of us have to go out and get the bacon and stir it up in a pan and serve everybody, and then we get the leftovers, and then and then go to a gig every day where you have to please someone. It's really important that you take some time for yourself. It really is. And I wish you all peace. How wonderful it is to not be anxious or stressed out about anything, but in all things with prayer, thanksgiving, and supplication, you will be rewarded with the peace that surpasseth all understanding. That's in Philippians. Go to that peaceful space. See what else we got going on. Well, purity keeps popping up. Purity. Not quite sure what that means. I mean, I know what the word in the Merriam-Webster would mean, purity. It's a nice card to go along with peace, but I'm not certain what the message would be with that one. It might be, doing something to take care of your body, something that isn't serving you any longer. And isn't it funny? Get rid of that which isn't serving you anymore. And here we got discernment. Always ask if you call them guides, your angels. I call the Holy Spirit and the angels, because the angels are waiting for instructions from us. They are there to serve us. Always ask for discernment, because when you do, you won't fall into these freaking Tinder traps. You won't get involved with somebody that means you absolutely no damn good. And that would mean anybody in your life, okay? So, having said that, I want you to remember to find some balance in your life. Embrace those things which are pure. I would think your thoughts. Try to keep them pure. Try to think about the things that bring you the joy and happiness you so rightfully deserve. And I wish you all peace and sweet slumber. I'll see you the next time. And remember, something wonderful is happening now. God bless you too, Rhonda. God bless you all. Thank you for coming on and letting me rattle on. I do appreciate it. I really do. And I will see you the next time. I intend to. I'm going to start doing this fairly regularly, just so that you know that I'm thinking of you, and that I'm thinking of you, and that we can have little chats. I'm getting used to this now, this 21st century communication. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, what's left of it. Enjoy your Sunday. I'll probably see a whole lot of you tomorrow night with Johnny, Jen Lynn, and Becca. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to have, I don't know who's going to be, else is going to be, but it's always a guaranteed good time. Good night, everyone. I love you so much. Thank you, Kathy. Good night.